The idea of an Oasis reunion has been up in the sky for almost 12 years, with rumours coming and going, and teases from the Gallagher brothers themselves, but they have always led to nothing. I don't think the band will ever get back together. The animosity that exists between the brothers doesn't look like it will be resolved, but the interesting question has always been asked. If Oasis were to reunite, what would the band's official lineup look like? Before we continue, let's rule out all the members that won't be returning, starting with Tony McCarroll. The animosity that exists between McCarroll and Noel is too large to ignore. As Oasis progressed, Noel continued to develop a bigger say in what the band did and didn't do, and if they were to return, I doubt Noel would have him back as drummer. Guigsy wasn't a particularly great bassist, but his playing of the root notes mixed with Bonehead's power chords is what gave us that early, raw Oasis sound. It's still very unclear why Guigsy left, but it's known that he didn't get on well with the band's management team, so much so that after he left, he has declined every management-led project post his exit. He now lives a quiet life with his family, so he would never return, but maybe he'll write a book about his time in the band someday. Alan White is arguably the best drummer that Oasis ever had, playing on 5 of their albums, including the Master Plan, and being one of the band's longest running members. In 2004, he left, and there have been a variety of different stories detailing why he decided to leave, from family issues to his resentment of the band using drum loops in the songs. He now also lives a quiet life, much like Guigsy, pursuing interests in business. He did create an Instagram account last year, and has been uploading himself playing along to old Oasis classics on the drums, so there is always a chance, but as of right now, I don't see him returning. Andy Bell joined Oasis as Guigsy's replacement, taking up the role of bass player when he was already known to be a very talented guitarist. When the band ended in 2009, there was reportedly a lot of animosity between Noel and Andy, each accusing the other of lying about the breakup of Oasis. Flash forward 12 years, Andy has now recently rejoined his band Ride and shows no interest in leaving, so it's safe to say Andy would also not return. Zach Starkey, the son of legendary drummer Ringo Starr, joined Oasis as Alan White's replacement. After a couple of years of touring with the band, he left. Many state he had a falling out with Noel, and at the time he did have many other commitments. Currently he's the drummer for The Who, and has been for a while, so his return has also been ruled out. It would never be an Oasis reunion if Noel and Liam didn't both return. Noel was the genius behind the songs, while Liam's incredible voice and attitude took the band to new heights. Noel's writing was like no other, and Liam's voice gave it that edge that it needed to propel it forward. It's argued that they were the powerhouse behind the success that was Oasis, and if one returned and the other didn't, it would not be an Oasis reunion. Currently, previous Oasis members Gem Archer, Bonehead and Chris Sharrock work with the Gallagher brothers, Archer and Sharrock making up half of the High Flying Birds, and Bonehead only recently joining Liam's touring band. Chris Sharrock would be the obvious choice for the drummer. He has a fantastic relationship and chemistry with Noel, and can make the simplest of drum beats interesting. If you haven't heard him live, I suggest listening to the band play The Shock of the Lightning, because some might say that his drumming in that is biblical. He's the only Oasis drummer that is still in contact with Noel that we know of, and with the previous drummers not likely to return, he'd be the obvious choice. Now, this is where things get a little hazy. Both Gem Archer and Bonehead are fantastic guitarists, contributing to 2 different eras of Oasis's sound, and their talent lies in their guitar playing. I'd never see Oasis reuniting with 3 guitarists and no bassist, so here's how I think it could go. Both Gem and Bonehead return, but they both alternate between playing guitar and bass, so on one night Gem would play his guitar and Bonehead would play the bass. The second night Gem would play the bass and Bonehead would play the guitar, and it could alternate like that. Obviously the second solution is that they have 3 guitarists and the bassist from the High Flying Birds comes in to play bass, but I think that the first option would be the optimal solution. If Oasis were to return, I believe that the lineup would look like this: Liam, Noel, Bonehead, Gem and Chris. Now this is just wishful thinking. We all want Oasis to get back together. Hopefully they'll keep the dream alive, but I doubt it will ever happen. Unfortunately, not all bands live forever. Who do you think would join Oasis's lineup if they ever got back together? I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!